All right, I think we're ready to get started here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jeff Ware. I'm a Senior Program Manager here in Teams Engineering Group with Microsoft. Happy to have with us today Rick Bajora from XRM Vision, who's formerly known as the TheDigitalTask, who's one of our partners, Microsoft partners that we've been working with, who's going to take us through manufacturing inspection solution that they have built leveraging Microsoft Teams and Teams platform. And all of the rich extensibility features that Teams brings to the table there. Microsoft Teams has quickly become an integral fabric of so many organizations, due in part to its rich meetings, chat, collaboration capabilities, but even more so today for its platform and extensibility features that are helping organizations lead modern digital transformation initiatives across their business and are helping companies to enable them to change the way that they're managing their businesses today, from the information worker levels all the way down to frontline and beyond. And so what Rick has to present to us here today is a demonstration of how the power of Teams extensibility are providing organizations the ability to do that today. So again, welcome everybody. Hope this is informative for you. As we go through the session today, if you have any questions, we will have some time at the end that we'll do some Q&A, but feel free to post any questions into the chat as Rick goes through the session, and we'll work together to go through those. And like I said, we'll have some time at the end where we'll be able to do some Q&A as well. So with that, again, Rick, thanks very much for providing us your time to go through this demonstration with us today. I'll hand over to you, and I'll let you take it away.
Well, thanks a lot, Jeff. Really appreciate the introduction. And just my name is Rick Bajora. I'm a Director of Hyperautomation with TheDigitalTask. XRM Vision is our new company name. We have officially merged with a company called XRM Vision out of Montreal, and as a company, we're super excited about that and hoping to bring you greater, better things as a partner through Microsoft and through Jeff and the team there. So looking forward here to showing you what's coming up with our application that we've built in partnership with Microsoft and an aircraft manufacturer, and look forward to you guys asking some questions and learning a bit about, as Jeff said, the Teams extensibility. So just going to continue on here. What we've done in this particular application is to leverage the power of Microsoft Teams, the Power Platform, which includes Power Apps and Power Automate. Also in the Teams environment, we've used native applications for Teams, including Azure Bots and the Azure Framework to deliver a solution for inspections. And the delivery improved outcomes were efficiency, visibility, and alignment. And primarily that came around, taking an existing process and really digitally transforming that process through Microsoft Teams. So let's talk a little bit about what was going on. So in this particular aircraft manufacturing company that we were working with, they had a very cumbersome, time-consuming manual process for inspection requests. And so getting an inspector to go to a particular work center and work on, inspect a particular step in a aircraft manufacturing process was very, very time-consuming. In fact, what happened was someone literally walked around the factory and on a clipboard and filled in the needs for inspection in the afternoon, and then someone manually assigned inspectors out to those particular work centers for the afternoon, and they did the same thing every morning, and it was a very, very time-consuming. So if they had urgent inspections required or something that needed to be inspected immediately, it really meant a body going or a telephone call or something that was disturbing kind of the flow of the operation within the plant. So as a result of what we've done, the end result was an intuitive, lightweight solution, and it really is intuitive and lightweight. You can, the individuals who need to have an inspection done can go right into Microsoft Teams and they can request an inspection, and inspectors on virtually any device in the field, in the plant, their cell phones, a tablet, a desktop machine, get prompted as to what is their next inspection, what they're doing, how they're, where they're supposed to go and what they're supposed to be doing. So with all of that said, let's kind of get into the demonstration of what we've done, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. So to start off with, inside Microsoft Teams, as you can see here, we've built an application that is in a team, in a channel, and very common use of Microsoft Teams, where you know, people can still use the posts and chat sections of Microsoft Teams for collaboration on inspections. In this particular case, they could upload files and documents if they'd like to, but having a dashboard available for the, and I'm just doing a little refresh, it does automatically refresh on a regular basis, but this in particular is a manager's view into what's going on in the plant. And so we have some limited demo data here, but you can see right now on the screen as a manager, I'm able to I'm managing, let's say, the inspection team, and I can see that there's an active inspection going on. It's a priority 1, which means it's fairly urgent. There was an aircraft that was being worked on. There's the document number that references for the work instructions and things that are happening in that work cell. Here's the work cell number, when it was created, what the elapsed time is since that particular activity had started, and who is the inspector that's currently active and assigned to that quality control person, and what kind of inspection is it. In this case, it's a mechanical inspection. One of the things that I can do as a manager, as I'm looking at my dashboard or the list of things that are happening right now, is I can go in and, for example, select an existing inspection request, and then I can change the priority of that inspection request very easily on this little pop-up window. So if I wanted to change that from, let's say, a number 1 priority down to, you know what, that really isn't a number 1, it's a do it anytime in the next 4 hours kind of inspection, then as the manager, I can be watching for those things. The other thing that can happen is that as a manager, I may need to move people around in my plant. The software that we built allows for the automatic assignment of employees based on physical location within the plant. So if you have multiple work cells, for example, let's go look at an actual example of that. So I'm going to pull up one of my quality control people, and you can see here that this is my quality control inspector number tester 1, and that person is a quality control employee. They are assigned to structural inspections. They speak English. They want a communication with the bots and framework in English. They can also change their, they can change their language preference, or I can change their language preference for them. Are they a leader? Who do they report to? What site are they working in, and are they on shift, or what shift are they on? And then the work cells that I have them assigned to. So I can move them around inside the plant and have them have a priority when they go to a particular, if a request for inspection is being done in a particular work cell or a particular area. You can also assign work cells to buildings. And so you can say that building inspectors are valid in an entire building, not just a single work cell. The other thing that a manager can do is we have a great management dashboard. I've got one of the dashboards here. We've built a couple of these sorry about that. I should have refreshed that just before the call. I'll let that dashboard refresh and then we'll come back to it. It'll just take a second. So there's a great Power BI dashboard that I'll show you in 2 seconds here. And so the next thing that let's look at is I'm now bringing up a web interface that is in Microsoft Teams, or you can run it directly in Teams native on the desktop. And this is, as you can see, a very similar interface that someone on the shop floor can use to interact with the same application. So now I'm bringing up I've logged in as a shop floor employee who is looking to get an inspection done or check the status of inspections in their area. So as a shop floor employee, I can quickly look and see that I've got this active inspection, and I've also entered a new one. The inspector's been working 57 minutes on this one, and I've been waiting 43 minutes on this. There are alerts for the managers in the background, so that if you exceed a time limit for a criticality of an inspection, for example, or request for someone to go to an area to look at or work with something, then there's a notification that goes out, and Teams bot will send out those notifications. So as an employee, I can go in and I can say that I'm working in a particular work center, and I'm going to just pick LCX20. And in that particular work center, I know that I've got airplane number 11 sitting there, and I'd like to get a structural inspection done. And I can set the priority for that structural inspection. I like it to have a regular authority. And then I can say whether it's a planned or unplanned inspection. And based on the structural inspection, I can also pick a subset of, for example, torque or cables or something that's related to my structural inspection, steps and gaps. Let's pick that. And what's my document type? So I can go in and say that the referencing document or the work instruction, the work instruction is this, and what do I need done? I need gaps inspected in tail assembly. Oh, can't spell. And I just submit that. So simply off a tablet maybe that's on a post in my work center, or off a PC that I have access to as a shop floor employee, or on my phone, I've been able to go in, and now I've issued a new structural request. You can see that right here. And so what will happen is that in a few seconds, that structural request will get assigned to an inspector who has that same appropriate qualifications. So someone who is a structural person, someone who is able to work in that work center, for example, and has those things. So we're just waiting a second for the bot to kick in. While we're doing that, let me go back to the other screen and check to see if the Power BI report came up for you. Oh, there we go. And so just to give you an overview of that Power BI report that the manager can see, this is one of the Power BI reports. There are a couple. And so quickly as a management overview, I can see how many inspection requests were closed off today, how many management were rejected by the inspectors, and you can also get a quick view over here of that. I can see the status of what my current inspectors in the plant are working on, and I can also see what current employees are available in the plant to work for me, and I can drill into a particular aircraft if I wanted to look at that, as you can with Power BI. Or the other nice thing you can do here is you can actually highlight over top of an area of the Power BI report and then get the detail of what's going on in that particular area. So I can see in this pop-up, the inspections that have already occurred today in that particular work cell, that were on that particular aircraft. In this case, this is aircraft 001 that I'm looking at, and then I can switch over to one of the other aircrafts and look at what's going on in that particular item there. So while we were talking about that, the inspection request that I just put in as an employee was just issued out to the shop floor, out to an inspector. So here's inspector number 1, who just got tester number 1, QCT inspector number 1, who just got assigned a inspection request. So this is designed to work on a mobile device. You can imagine inspectors are walking around the plant and they're doing things very quickly and able to respond to the appropriate request. And then, so they get a card that works both on a mobile device or on a desktop device, and they can simply just accept that card. And then as a result of accepting that card, the system in the background is updated, and they're on their way now, and they've got instructions here as to what they should have been doing, what are the gaps, what was the request all about, right? So once that happens, then the inspector, the information here on the dashboard, of course, is updated for the employee and for the manager, and it will go from pending to active. And in the background, what's happening for the inspector now is that his adaptive card on his mobile device or on his desktop has now changed over to a card that asks him what's going on when you're done. So that person, or he or she, are working, and they get still the information where they're supposed to go, what time they started on, what's the location, what's the aircraft that they're working on, and the work instruction. And then they can easily complete that inspection once it's done by just clicking complete. They could reject that inspection for a reason. So they could say, I've rejected it because the worker wasn't completed yet. And quite often people will try and beat the system by requesting an inspection early. The inspector gets over there in 5 minutes and they're not ready for them, and so they'll reject the inspection, right? And or issue an NCR, non-conformance report, and then that goes into, in this particular case, it's interfaced with another system, and there's an NCR ticketing system that needs to have a escalation, and they need to do manager intervention and things like that. So let's just hit the complete button here, and that would flag the inspection request as completed fully and without any problems. And then, or we could hit NCR. I just want to point out one other thing for you before I do that, is that as a employee who is requesting an inspection, I also have the ability to interact with the same bot. And so on my cell phone, or in the, let's say I'm in a meeting and I had put an inspection request in earlier, then I'm going to get a nice card coming up on my cell phone in the chat with the eCall bot, and it's going to tell me that your inspection request has been assigned. There's an inspector on the way. Here's the inspector. It wouldn't say QC tester 1, of course. It would say Michael or Susan or whoever the inspector was. And then, as you can see here on the previous inspection, this inspection was completed successfully. So the employee is getting an ongoing update as to what's happening in the plant. And to make this inspection a little bit more interesting, let's make it a non-conformant. So we're going to say that I could have just said complete. It would have just completed the inspection. Everything would have been great. But in this particular type, I'm going to say that it was a non-conformance, and I'm going to non-conformance for a particular reason. I can change the priority if I want on it. I can say here, for example, this was looking at gaps. Gaps do not conform. Aircraft. Okay, and then we can also set a priority down at the bottom on this NCR, and then I'll confirm it. And so I've now, on my mobile device or on my desktop, been able to, my tablet device, I've been able to do a confirmation and actually issue a non-conformance report into the bot. And the thing that'll happen is that right now it says, hey, there's no new request found for you. So I've already just completed that, it's done, and it's been sent off back to the person who requested it. So in a few minutes, what will happen is the employee will actually get a notification that there was a non-conformance in their email, the same as they will in Microsoft Teams in their team. So the team will update and they'll get a notification of that. But more importantly, in this case, the manager who is managing this department or this area of the business also gets an update for non-conformance in the background in the form of a card as well. So if there's any exceptions going on, an NCR was generated, a call request was rejected for some reason, and what was the comment? Build not complete yet. And so there's great communication and collaboration going on between workers in the plant. And in this particular case, this call was rejected, and building wasn't complete, and you can see the inspector's code asked them to resubmit a request within 1 hour, and that allows us to really have interaction and then potentially manager follow-up and an immediate notification for the quality control manager or the quality control leader to be able to interact with the workers and take the appropriate action. So, and of course, on the management dashboard, they can always go and look at any rejected or NCRs or the current workload going on in the plant. Jeff, I think that's probably a high-level overview of what's going on the product. There's lots of other things happening in the background and other automation that can happen as well. All of this entire application is designed multilingual, so there you can switch between English and French on the application, as well as you can choose to have messages come to your cell phone or to whatever device you're using as an inspector in the language, your language of preference. All of the labels and the information that we provide, buttons and things like that, are all modifiable by simply by making a database update. So customizing this and using it in your environment, is fairly quick and also can be very easy to do.
Yeah, no, this is great to see. Thanks, Rick, for walking us through that. And to the point that you just made there, what's really cool here is these kind of solutions are easily customized for a specific customer environment. I know in this case here, we're talking about aircraft inspections, but inspections can fall across many different areas, industries, practices, et cetera, right? This is something that could be tailored to meet other specific business needs. And that's what's neat about the power of all of the platform features coming together, is that extensibility and customizable options that you have to tailor to a specific use case scenario. So yeah, no, thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome. This is just a quick overview of the architecture. We should get some questions. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, so there is one question that came in, and there was one question with regards to the licensing required from an M365 perspective for this type of solution, and what some of the development costs potentially are to putting this type of a solution in place. And so if I'm not mistaken, I think this is something that is leveraging, I think if you have like an E3 license, so to speak, it's using the components that you see on the screen here from Azure subscription services with Power BI, Power Apps, and the Dataverse. But did you want to speak, were there any specific licensing aspects that you wanted to share that may have been applicable here?
Yep. So great summary there, Jeff. That's a great reason this architecture diagram is up on the screen for you to also get an idea of that. This application is built in the Teams Dataverse and with Teams and Power Apps and with native Teams applications. So from the use of the bots, the inspection, the employee who's the frontline worker, and all of the management functions, with the exception of Power BI, are all included in your E3 license. So from a usage standpoint, there is a small licensing cost for the Azure bot services, but that's minimal, to be quite honest. Microsoft has made that very available and very affordable. And then if you want to make the Power BI reports available to managers or to shop floor workers, then you would need a Power BI license associated with that.
Anything specific from a Power Automate perspective in terms of, was there any connector licenses that were needed here, or were you able to actually leverage a lot of the seeded capabilities?
We were able to leverage almost all the seeded capabilities. There wasn't a custom connector or a premium connector in place. What we did is we actually had the Azure bot service connect with the Dataverse instead of the opposite way around to save on licensing costs. So it was specifically designed to to take advantage of the great connectivity and features that the Azure bot services come with.
Great. But I know there was a second part to that question around some of the costs for development. I know those are, we can work with you if you want to reach out to your Microsoft account team, or I'll share Rick's information here. You can reach out with him directly, depending on customizations that are needed, et cetera, right? What kind of development cycle and timing obviously play into what some of those costs are from a development perspective. But it definitely is something that we can work with you to share more details on. I will share actually directly into the chat there. I'll share Rick's contact information. So if you do have any follow-up questions, please, you can feel free to reach out directly to Rick or your Microsoft account team, and they can definitely get us looped in and look at how we can help you get started on this kind of a journey or solution, right? Yeah, Rick, again, I just want to say thanks for walking through this. It's a really good demonstration to show how the power of not just Teams platform, but Power Platform and all of the extensibility components come together, and enabling organizations really, in this case here, this is taking an old kind of archaic pen and paper type of process that allows them to digitally transform that, and the impacts of that around productivity and costs and speed and go-to-market strategies, et cetera, right? Really help you to transform how you're managing and how you're running your business today. And so this is just one use case example, and there are a whole lot of other examples, and we have some other sessions like this one that have been presented that can give you some more insights on that as well. So at this point, I think we can go ahead and close out. I don't have any other pending questions that have come in. So it'll bring us to the end of the session today. And like I mentioned, if you have any further questions, want to start conversation, think about some discovery and thought process behind how we go through discovery and vision and how you can get to building this, feel free to reach out to Rick, reach out to your Microsoft account team representatives, and we'll be more than happy to have that conversation with you. So again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining. Hopefully this was insightful, and hope you all have a good rest of the day. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.